man, they're gonna do a whole lot there.
Hi, we're back here at RGB Live. Apologize for this morning. I tried to interview Mayor Richard Molina, but we had some technical difficulties. So we're here to continue with the interview. And one of the questions that I was asking him is running again for mayor for the city of Mayor. What are your plans this next term if you are to be elected the mayor of Edinburg again?
You know, the 4 years flies by very, very quickly. And I kind of said this earlier, but we live in a fast food America where people want things instantaneously. I ran on a couple of things that I wanted to change. I wanted to change the term limits of elected officials in the city of Edinburg. We were able to accomplish that. So no mayor or council member can serve more than 2 4-year terms. That we were able to tackle. If somebody wants to undo that, they have to go back to the voters. Another thing we've been working on is drainage. This is decades and decades of work that has been happening, with growth in the valley, because I think all these canals are connected to each other. So it's not just Edinburg, it affects McAllen, Mission, Far, all these other cities. So we have a lot of infrastructure issues that we need to address. We've been able to do some areas, but we have a lot of progress on the table that we'd like to fix. So the reason I'm running is, number one, I want to serve 4 more years, and that'll be the limit that I could serve. Second part is I want to do this infrastructure, these drainage issues. We also have a cultural arts building that has been pending for about 15 years that we're finally going to start that process, going out for bids, architects, different things like that. I would like to see that project complete. Also some gymnasiums that have been hanging over our head for some time. I'd like to see, we're going to break ground on them this year. I'd like to be here to see it complete. There's a couple of other things that I see, but those are the main ones, just projects that we started, and I just like to finish them. And I think with another 4 years, we'll be able to knock them out.
Well, I like the term limits. That's one of the things that McAllen had in this ballot, this election round, and it passed because I think, like we were talking earlier, that we need to bring ideas to the city, new people in, fresh ideas, not the same old elected officials that they don't move. I mean, after they serve there for a long time, they kind of get very comfortable,
right?
Because we don't have a good voter turnout, so they stay there.
Exactly.
So what is one of the things, I know that in McAllen, which is elections, the voter turnout was very low. What is one thing that you see that we need to bring out the voters in the valley?
People have asked me this, even new candidates that are running. The voter apathy exists here in the Rio Grande Valley. It's really throughout the entire nation. People just don't get excited. They don't believe in the system. They don't believe that anybody can make the changes that are needed to make. They don't think that people are bold enough to do it. So, that's just been the sentiment. I think the nation's been divided completely, just on a national level. It's gone into Austin, and it's gone into our communities. As far as being able to get the voter apathy, get it to kind of start a curve there, I don't have the answer to that. But I know it's just letting people to be involved as active as they can. Because what happens is, I think we had one of the larger voter turnouts when I ran for mayor in 2017. I don't think we've had that many numbers come out. But in the city of Edinburg, I think it was very similar to what McAllen did this year. I think we looked at a little over 9,000 people that came to the polls, which is big because the city of McAllen has a lot more registered voters. So it lets you know that the city of Edinburg spoke loud and clear the last time I run. Hopefully we'll get the same voter turnout here if we're able to bring out the same numbers. But to get past that 9-10%, it's really hard to overcome that.
Maybe this term limits will help because more different people will get involved. So it's going to bring different, voters onto the table, into the voting polls, because they're going to see a diverse, selection of candidates. Like in my run, there was five people running, so there were different people. So having term limits does help people get involved, knowing that they have a chance in running and getting their voters to come out, their family and friends. I'm very big on the running trails. Does Edinburg have anything like that? Because I know since you have the university here, that attracts more people into signing up, coming from other places to come to UTRGV. Is that something?
We just started a big initiative called ActiveEdinburg.com, and I got involved in it during the pandemic. I'm glad to say that I lost 40 pounds. for being more active and for walking and for jogging and for just, you know, changing my nutrition plan, just so many things. But getting back to walking trails, we do have the walking trail that the grand scheme of things is to eventually connect it to the walking trail on Second. We've been working on this for some time, but we have our Chapin Pond that we were going to break ground on this week. We were going to show its completion here very, very soon, but we had it canceled because of the rain last week. So that's something that I want to promote. It serves as a detention pond for water. That's very important because we're coming into hurricane season, and also a walking trail. So this is located on Chapin between Sugar Road and Jackson. So we've been working on that. And we also have another walking trail that we're working on Gonzales area with the irrigation district. So this is big. So these are things that we're definitely looking at in the city of Edinburg. There's so many people that are more active. They after there's this urge for people to get out, and I think gymnasiums are going back to being packed. Walking trails are getting packed again. One of the things that we added a couple of dog parks. So these were a big hit. This was data that we had from our citizens that this is something they wanted to see. They wanted to see a couple of dogs. So we were able to do one at Sergeant de la Garza Park. We did another one on Bicentennial Park and another over at Municipal Park. So we were able to knock out 3 dog parks here during the pandemic. Those are also big hits, and those are also related to the walking and the
fitness.
Yeah, and
trying
the fitness.
to get, and that's one of the biggest things, especially during COVID, that a lot of people, the gyms were closed, so there was nowhere to go. I know that, like you, I lost a lot of weight as myself because the gyms were closed. Yes, and there was nothing to do but run or walk on the trails, and that helped out a lot. And I think that people became more hungry after the pandemic to start doing, the fitness and getting themselves out there in the walking trails. Right. So that's a good thing. I noticed that we started getting big here in Edinburg, or you started getting big with the whole industrial area, Living Edinburg. Do you see any more future plans on helping that grow anymore? Because it kind of came to a halt.
Yeah, the pandemic put a halt on a lot of things. There was investors that were ready to go, and then they kind of were put on ice there for a little bit. But we're getting movement again. We just came into terms with a new broker that's going to be helping us here move a lot of the properties that we own here with the city of Edinburg, which is in this industrial park that you're talking about. So a lot of things, trade that's happening here. And I just think that there's this buzz in Edinburg. I don't know, there's a statistic that shows that Edinburg is the 5th fastest growing city in the state of Texas. And from all these, talk about the Rio Grande Valley, Edinburg is the only one on that top 5 list. So it lets you know that there's this movement that people are starting to come into Edinburg. They want to live here. I always tell people this: they want to live in Edinburg, but they want to party in McAllen. And that's been the sentiment that we've gotten from people over the last couple of years.
McAllen does have a lot of the nice, local restaurants and eateries, and we have the downtown area as well. Another question that I had in mind was, I know that when I spoke to the police officers and the fire department in McAllen, trying, to talk to them, one of the things that they lack is female recruitment. Do you see yourself having some kind of job fair to attract women into this type of field work as police officers or fire departments? Because we all need both male and female, but when they're dealing with children or other women, that they lack in that, they need that help from women.
Well, I worked in law enforcement for the city of Edinburg. I was there for 11 years, and I can tell you that the city has always tried to be an equal opportunity employer. But that's something that we could definitely look at. I've never really looked at the numbers, but obviously you do have more male, than their counterparts, female, that do the job. But that's definitely something that we can look at. I haven't really seen what we do on the ground level, but I do know that the way civil service works, it's really strict in the sense that they take this test, and in that test, let's say you have 100 applicants and we have 5 openings. It's going to take numbers 1 through 5. So if everybody, depending on the score that they did, they'll go through the civil service exam. Then the next thing they'll do is a physical fitness exam. And then the next one will be a background check and eventually a psychological test and all these other things that are needed before you get hired. But they go strictly lists. So that there's no politics involved. They pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you're number 6, you're
That's
left
it.
out. So, there are some studies that have been done that shows that females are better test takers than men. So it is very possible, for there to be a large movement of women being hired by the city of Edinburg. But there are several. I've seen an increase since I've been involved with this for the past 8 years, and then 11 as a police officer. So I'm going on 20 years here, total body of work. There has been more female officers that have been hired. I know that for a fact.
That's nice to hear.
Yes.
And do we know who your opponents are at this time? And what
think,
makes you different from them?
there's going to be a couple of them that come out. For me, I just want to keep the progress. I think that I've been getting an overwhelming amount of phone calls of people that have been wanting me to run again. And I believe that because this takes a lot of time from your family, community service, it does. And sometimes we all question, okay, how long are we going to do? Do we want to be involved? And to me, because of the overwhelming amount of support that I'm getting, calls and texts, I think that's only fair that I run one more time. And I've had this talk with my family. And then after that, I'm going to pass the torch over to somebody else. So, I feel very, very pleased with running again. I think there's a lot of people there that want me to put my name on the ballot, and ultimately the voters decide. At the end of the day, it's all about making this a better community, and the voters, they're never wrong. They always pick the right candidate for the right time, but it's not a life or death situation. I've seen people lose an election and come back and win 2 more. I've seen people, win 3 elections and then finally lose one. So it all depends what the people want. And at this point, from what I've been hearing in the last couple of months, is people want me to serve because of the job that the city has done, and we've done as a team on the council. So we're going to do it again one more time.
For taking the time again to speak with us. I promise you it was going to be like a short interview, but I just wanted to say I just came from an event and there was a resident from Edinburg and he was very happy to hear you were running and the results. He goes, ultimately what matters is the results. It's not who you know or the compadre, you know how people are. Right. What matters at the end is choosing the right candidate that's going to do for the community. And that's what we're here for, and that's what we run.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
No. I look forward to many more of these interviews, Myra, in the future. I know this is the one of many. I know that you guys had me on the show a couple of months ago, and you guys have always done a great job, and I commend the job that you all do here, educating citizens and giving everybody the opportunity to come on your show and speak.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. And whenever you have something to say, just let us know, and our platform is your platform.
You got it. Thank you very much.